In any media we consume, it really is the location that sets the scene. So, in this video, I thought it would be really fun to go over the layout of the Griffin's house. I'm also going to keep this as canon as possible, so I'm going to try and avoid rooms or features that are intended for a joke or things that are temporary pretty much as possible. Square footage of the rooms and the house itself tends to change based on what's going on in the episode, and it's just basically cartoon rules, so we're just going to play fast and loose with that. But we will start off with the living room, where things are already going to get actually kind of a little weird. So in this room, you walk into the front door. The wall directly to the right of this door has a window to the front yard. Directly across from the front door is another doorway leading into a hallway. In the corner, directly to the right of this, is the staircase to go upstairs. And next to that is the doorway to their screened-in front porch. Along this wall is the TV, and this is where things start to get actually kind of interesting. Next to the living room hallway door is a closet, which should be this door that actually leads into the kitchen. But it will also sometimes be a closet. But then, even within the same scene, it can turn back into a doorway into the kitchen, and the closet will replace the entrance to the hallway. There is also this window, which has been filled in from the inside. Since it should be right here next to the TV, it's just sort of weird that they appear to have left the glass and everything in, since from the outside it looks like it's a functioning window, or maybe it only exists sometimes, kind of like a closet door. As I said, right off the living room is the screened-in porch. Honestly, a pretty simple space with a door to the backyard and also a door to the front yard. Taking to the first floor, we can go into the first floor hallway. So from the living room, directly in front of you is the piano room or the family room if you like. To the right is the doorway to the basement. To the left is a closet that may or may not be there, or the rest of the hallway, which is the first door on the left leading into the kitchen, and across from that is to the right is the dining room. And now I would say we could just go through a doorway at the end of the hallway and cover the garage, except there is actually not a doorway from the inside of the house to the garage. As a matter of fact, there might not be a way from the outside of the garage, since you can clearly see that there is in fact a door from the outside of the house. It once again seems to have been filled in and the door left in place on the outside. But sometimes though, people have walked in through that door, so the door seems to just kind of disappear like the closet does. But instead, we'll go ahead and go into the kitchen. So as you walk in, directly in front of you, you will see a table where they have a lot of simple meals and a window to the front yard. To your left is the door to the living room. That might just go into the back of the closet. If you look to your right, you will see a door that leads to the driveway on the same wall as the sink and this window. Across the hall from that is the dining room, which they mainly use for holidays or entertaining guests. Straight across from the doorway is a window. However, with a recurring theme, there should be a window on the left wall, but it either disappears, has been filled in, and the window and glass have just not been removed. But finally, on the first floor is the piano/family room. Walking in, if you look straight ahead, you will see the piano facing your left wall. Behind that is a couch and what should be this window, with this window near the right corner as well. Looking to the right of the hall is the fireplace. Past that, along the outside wall, is the window and sometimes a door leading to the outside, because when you look at the house from the outside, the door just simply isn't there. So overall, the first floor plan actually looks something like this most of the time. But now we can go back into the hallway and through the basement door. So they actually appear to have done some level of remodeling over the years, since when we first see it, you walk downstairs next to a wall and underneath the stairs was filled in, then the rest of the basement was under the piano and dining room. However, later in the series, we see that underneath the staircase has been opened up and the basement extends under the living room, creating a little nook for the washer and dryer. And the overall space seems to have been reduced, though this could, have just been the switching and stretching of the show, so it's hard to kind of say. But overall, the current look of the basement does look like this. Now going back the other way, we can go into the living room and upstairs to the second story. At the top of the stairs is a hallway. To the left and around the railing at the end is Lois and Peter's master bedroom. Next to that is the main bathroom. Directly across from the stairs is Stewie's room. Down the hall on the left is Chris's room, and then directly off to the right is actually Meg's room. So starting with Lois and Peter's master bedroom, walking in the door directly ahead of you will be the bed up against the outside wall. with this window usually to the right of the bed. On the left wall near the outer wall is the door to the bathroom, and to the right is this window, which as usual is just sometimes not there. The bathroom is where this room actually gets a little strange, since the toilet, shower, and sink tend to move around. Sometimes the sink and toilet are to the right of the door on the outer wall of the house. Sometimes they're on the inner wall to the left of the door. Sometimes they're on the opposite wall. Then the tub and shower will move from left of the door to along the back wall. Also, sometimes there are doors on it, and then other times it's just wide open. Back in the hallway though, the next room is the main bathroom. Super simple. You walk in, to your left is the sink and a toilet. Directly in front of you is a shower, which may or may not have sliding glass doors on. Across from the stairs is Stewie's room. Looking straight ahead, there is a window, usually to the left of Stewie's time machine. To the left of this, the windows looking over the front yard. Now along to the right is where things actually do get interesting, because this is where Stewie's secret weapons room is located. I believe this was actually a converted closet, since Stewie's room doesn't actually have a closet otherwise. Down the hall from Stewie's room is Chris's bedroom, and directly across from the doorway is sometimes this window. Also, towards the end of this room is a cutout for the chimney, which is actually in the wrong room and on the complete wrong side of the house. Looking to the right is his closet, where the evil monkey was living, and on the far wall is this window overlooking the front yard. Now, along the left wall is interesting, since Chris also has a hidden room, except he uses his for his porn collection. This room is a lot less extravagant than Stewie's, although it does help out my closet theory. His is even a little smaller than Stewie's room. Rounding out the rooms on the second floor though is Meg's bedroom, right next to the staircase. Directly across from the door is the window looking the backyard. Then to the right is the window overlooking the porch. Next to this should be the cutout for the chimney, but like I said, it's in the wrong room. Then directly to the left of the door is Meg's closet. In traditional Family Guy fashion, Meg's room is probably the least interesting of the entire house. But overall, the upstairs of the Griffin's house actually ends up looking like this. Finally though, getting back into the hallway between Meg and Stewie's room, on the ceiling is a doorway to the attic. Opening it pulls down a collapsible ladder, and it is in roughly the middle of the attic space. But nothing too remarkable up here, except the chimney is actually back in its correct position, sometimes since it tends to kind of move around the wall. And there is once again sometimes a window, but this could have been left out due to a remodel, since it can't actually be seen from the outside. And there was actually a panic room installed up in here that ended up flooding, but it should still be around there somewhere. But the attic is pretty much similar to this. Like I said, not very interesting, but they do go up there sometimes, so I figured I'd cover it. But that is all there is to cover on the Griffin's house. A surprising amount of missing windows and random doors. Also, just for fun, I put this into Zillow. And if you want, you can own a similar house to the Griffins in Rhode Island. It will cost you somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000, at least according to Zillow. It was the closest I could find that matched the general layout. But hey, let me know down in the comments below if I missed anything that you would have liked to have seen in the video, if I got anything wrong, if you have any better explanations. And while you guys are down there, please remember to hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video.